Okay, this is my first tabletop review for Blog of Speed. I'm just going to tell you guys that this is going to be more of a rant than anything. It should have some educational stuff if you're not big in cars and stuff like that. One of my pet peeves about the auto industry right now is companies are making 200, 250, 300 horsepower cars without a limited slip differential. Um, I think a limited slip is pretty much essential. Anyone who's driven in ice, in snow, with a rear wheel drive or front wheel drive car to some extent can tell you that it's a problem with spinning. With an open differential, if you have one wheel that spins, uh, the power will keep going to that wheel because it has the least resistance. It's just an open differential, and that's how they work. Um, this is okay in dry conditions when you have really sticky tires. It's not really a problem, but in low traction conditions, combined with turning and things like that, it really becomes an issue. You can get stuck fairly easily on sand, ice, mud, dirt, whatever you want to call it. The other problem is when you have the wheel with least resistance spinning. On a front wheel drive car, especially, you get understeer. The car just pushes to the edge of the corner. It can be controlled with judicious use of the throttle, but the limited slip car, in my experience, bites in and pulls you through the turn rather than pushing you out of it. That's not to say a limited slip cures all your woes, but it helps. What a limited slip does is exactly what it suggests. It usually has clutch packs inside. There are gear based limited slips, a lot of limited slips. That's a topic for another day. Uh, the clutches enable the differential to give a certain amount of power to the wheels. I know in my E36, for example, the limited slip percentage is 25%. So that means that the wheel with least resistance will have at least 75% of the power. So that means that other 25% is going to go to the other wheel. This is a lot better than it sounds. In experience, the 25% is fine on the street. It's pretty good. I could be wrong. It could be 15%. But that's kind of my experience with that. An easy way to tell if you have a limited slip or not is usually to do a burnout. It usually tells you if you leave two patches, you might have a limited slip. Not always, but you probably do. The bigger problem right now to me is a lot of the manufacturers are starting to do electronic limited slip differentials. Now, I'm not saying like BMW and Chevrolet that use actual electronics inside the differential to limit the slip. I'm talking about like the electronic limited slip programs that simulate a limited slip behavior by pulsing the brakes. It's not really the best way to do things. I vastly prefer a mechanical limited slip because it does the same thing every time. And I'm kind of disappointed to see manufacturers doing it. I know it's a cost cutting measure. I know having more components inside the differential might be a point of failure from an OEM standpoint. But for me, it's absolutely essential in any sporting front wheel drive car, especially, to have a limited slip differential. All wheel drive cars, not quite as relevant, though it really does help. The Nissan GTR, for example, has limited slip differentials in the front and the back, and they actually happen to be really tight, so they work really well, and that's part of the reason that car is so fast. I've heard people talk about how over computerized it is and this and that. It has a lot of computers. But really, on the drivetrain, it has a traditional limited slip differential in the front, a traditional limited slip differential in the back, and a variable uh, torque controller in the middle, if you will. It's basically a clutch that controls the torque. That's the only thing on the car that's electronically controlled. The limited slips are just mechanical, which is one of the reasons why the car is so good at handling, because it uses a mix of traditional and high-tech methods to control what it's doing. So that's basically my 2 cents on limited slip differentials. I hope you guys have a little better understanding of them. I'll try to make a model or show a car with a limited slip and without to show you guys what actually happens and what it feels like. But I figured I'd start doing these little videos and explain what I mean by certain things so that you guys can have a better understanding. Like I said, next time I'll try to get some models. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you soon.